You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big Reptile Talk.
Welcome. This is Big Reptile Talk, the reptile podcast where we bring cool guests on, talk to them, get to know them. Shout out to some of the early birds popping up in the chat. Shout out to my dog Eric. Shout out to Morbid. I see you guys, man. Everybody popping up in the chat. I appreciate you for showing up. Oh, man. Morbid. New member to the channel. Morbid, I appreciate you, man. It's nothing but love over here. Thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to all the members. What up, Mike, man? Shout out to all the early birds, man. I rock with y'all, man. Shout out to all the members, man, because y'all allow me to chase my dream and be a podcaster. Bring people up and just talk to them, see what they're doing. So just much love to y'all, man. I appreciate the likes, the shares. You just showing up, man. It means the world to me, man. But we'll leave that up there for a while, man. We got a new member to the channel. As always, before we do anything, we got to give love to the sponsors. Because without them, we wouldn't, we wouldn't be here. So let's talk about the sponsors. Of course, we all know Ozzy Boys, one of the kings of the ball python game. Shout out to Ozzy. Make sure you go give him some love. Just crushing it when it comes to snakes. Go check out his page. Of course, we got to give balls to you some love. You know, he is just a heavy hitter, man. He just produces some amazing animals. So please go give him a follow. Check out his snakes. His motto says it all. Quality shines through. So when you mess with Gavin, you're going to get nothing but quality. And of course, venom-proof cages. They are just heavy hitters when it comes to the cage production. Just real amazing cages, man. Everybody showing up. Shout out to FNA Balls, man. What's up, MAGA, man? Everybody, man. Shout out to the early birds. So today, man, this is round 2 with Duff Does Nature Stuff. Big Pepe. Excited to have him here, man. He's doing amazing things, and he's one of my favorite reptile keepers right hand. You know, he's Tyler Nolan's guy. So let's bring him in. Let's talk to him and let's see what he's got going on. Let's bring him in. What's going on, man? The big homie.
Man.
How you doing, man?
How we doing, man? It's great to see you again. It's great to be back, man. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You're going kind of slow. Give me 1 second. Let me exit out and come back in because I'm getting Grim Exotic. Shout out to Grim Exotic. This said the Python Wrangler Pepe. Everybody knows you, man. Don't go in there. I'm gonna take us out and then I'm gonna bring us back in, okay? Because my hearing is off. So give me 1 second. Can you hear me?
Feeling. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Here, wait. Let me take these off. See what happens.
So give me 1 second.
Hear me now? Wait.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. You can hear me?
Oh, it's fine. I can hear you. It sounds like you slowed down on my end. That's fine. Can y'all hear him in the chat? Can y'all hear both of us in the chat?
I'm on that Pompano Wi-Fi, man. It's rough.
Eric said, tell Tyler. Pepe needs to tell Tyler I need to hook up on a King Cobra.
Hey, man.
We hear you both. Okay, no worries. We're going to jump. we might need to restart this. I don't know. Cause you coming through. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah, here. Do you want me to exit out and come back?
We're gonna restart this. We're gonna restart this and come back in. Okay, let me restart this. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end this and we'll restart it because for some reason I can't. You're not coming through on my end. Give me 1 second. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's better. Man,
Yes,
I was like, what the fuck?
We persevered.
Man, let me see if I put my headphones in if that was the problem. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, man. I'll do the same.
Okay, I can hear you, man. I can hear you. That's fine.
I can hear you. Cool. Here we are.
Hey, man, I'm just excited. Shout out to Kurtwood, man. He's here, man. Shout out to everybody, man.
Shout out
Again, Morbid, man, thank you again, man. I appreciate you. Now, excited to have you here, man, but I feel like an asshole, bro.
What's that?
When I was talking to you,
You're
like, let's do this podcast. And you're like, I kind of hurt myself. And I'm like,
I did,
damn.
man.
I was like, hurt yourself. I said, damn, I hope he's not too hurt. But yes, that's going to be good content.
That's what the people love, man. That's what the people love.
You gotta tell us what happened, man. You had an accident python hunting. So take us back to a couple nights ago. What happened?
Dude, this was actually this morning. So I'm out there this morning, I got out of this morning about 8 a.m. And I'd only been out not long. This is like 10:30. I'm up on top of a rock pile, probably about 6 feet above the ground, and I just took a step onto what I thought was rocks, and it was dead plants over basically a cavern. And I put my foot through it and then just turned and fall, and I fell into a rock pile. And I don't know if I bruised a bone or what. I mean, I'm not a doctor, and I don't usually like to go to the doctor. So, but I'm having a hard time walking. I had to end my hunt early. My hip I'm in some pain, but I made it home. We're here. No pythons today, though, man.
That is insane, man. So you hurt yourself python hunting, man.
Not a cool way, unfortunately, but I did.
Y'all didn't. Were you hunting this weekend or just this morning?
Yeah, I've been having some car trouble, so I've been only able to hunt when my buddies are able to hunt. But today I was able to get out there with one of my buddies, and we were getting after it until the incident happened, and then we kind of slowed down. And when we were hiking, and once you can't hike, and the other guy's trying to hike, I just kind of felt bad, so I head out early.
Nice, man. So a lot of people don't know this. I want to talk about that, man. You are a FWC Python contractor. Like, how did you become that? Did you have to apply for it? Were you picked? How did you become that?
I got very lucky. I'm really lucky to have this job as a contractor, especially being the young man that I am from, who's moved into the state of Florida somewhere recently. Well, not that recently anymore. I've been here for almost 4 years now, 3 years. But I moved down at the end of 2019, and I linked up with another person who was contracted at the time, and he was kind enough to take me out hunting, and I got similar as what I'm doing with Tyler right now. I got my hours. It's different because it's not like a certain number of hours, but I logged volunteer hours, caught snakes unpaid. I just showed the program that I'm able to do this, and I would be productive if they were to give me the honor of having my keys and being contracted. And then I was lucky enough to find myself in the pool for who might get hired. And then next thing I know, COVID started, and then I get the email that I'm hired, and it was crazy. It's so crazy, man. It's a dream, man. It's like every time I go out there, it's still work, whatever. Like, no, man, it's a dream. It really is. I'm getting paid to catch snakes. Like, come on.
I'm jealous.
It's like I don't want to be boastful, like I'm not trying to brag about it, but it is really, I really am. Like every time I'm out there, I'm like, wow, because I'll catch one and I'm so excited with my buddies or whoever I'm out there with that I just caught a python. And I'm like, I get money for this. Like, I'm getting paid right now. It is, you know what I'm saying, man? It's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm gonna be honest. Let me tell you something. If I had an Uno stack right here, if I had an Uno card, I'm gonna hit you with the reverse card, man, because I want to live your life. You know, you hanging out with Tyler Nolan, you fucking catching snakes, getting paid to catch snakes. I'm jealous, man, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't need that job because I would show my ass if they paid me to catch snakes. Because think about it, you in the perfect position. Once they outlaw everything, you're in the perfect position to catch shit and sell it through the back door.
No comment.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway,
yeah. I get what you're saying though. Yeah.
You have an amazing job, man. Before we keep going, man, I'm happy to have you here, man. Shout out to the people that's doing the super chats. Thank you so much. But man, so tell me, man, with you hunting snakes, what was one of your best finds?
Python or just herping, just looking for snakes in life.
While you were out there hunting, when you were just kind of both.
I had one crazy night where we found 6 mud snakes in about 3 hours, which is pretty cool. I had one night where the night I actually caught my record python, which is not too big compared to some of my buddies, but my record python is just under 14 feet, which sounds big. I get that, but you know, those snakes can grow over 18 feet. So anyways. So that night we actually caught 5 snakes that were all over 9 feet. And financially, that is the best night I've ever had. I've seen crocodiles out there. I've seen what I suspect to be caiman out there, invasive caiman, never gotten close enough to verify. But that's the cool thing about the Everglades, man. You don't know what you're going to see, especially in some places down there in Homestead. I've never been lucky enough, but I know people have found rainbow boas, carpet pythons, ball pythons. It's a crazy environment down here. And again, I'm so lucky to be able to be down here doing what I do.
Right. I love it, man. Grim Exotic said, "You're being modest. That's a big snake, bro."
Here, I have the skin. I'll show you. I get it, Grim. You're not wrong. Like it's not that that's a small snake. It's that I just happen to hang out with all the people who catch bigger snakes. So while I'm not complaining, it is. Oh man. So this is.
Look at that. That is insane.
So that's his. Where's the camera here? So that's his head, or her head, I should say. And then. So it's. I mean, there's a lot going on here for sure. It's not a small animal by any means. If 9 out of 10 humans were to come across the snake, it'd probably be the worst day of their life. But I just happen to be that 10th guy, you know.
I love it, man. Now, you know, you hunting snakes out there, man. Give us a crazy story. What's that's your best find, but give me your craziest python hunting story.
I have actually, prior to being contracted, when I used to just go look for pythons recreationally, like, you know, when I was trying to prove that, you know, I could be contracted, I was on public grounds at night and I had someone come out of the bushes, like come out of the bush and try to remove me from my vehicle, but I was in it. And so they weren't able to keep their hands on me and I accelerated and got away. And I have no clue what they wanted. I don't intend to ever find out what they wanted. It was probably the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. In terms of like real life scenario with another person. It was really like scary. I was hanging out my window shining and I just hear like what sounds like something stuck in my tire. And I'm like, what is that? And then last second I realized it's like the sound of someone running. And I turn around and see the guy running after my car and he lunges for me and I hit the gas and took off. And I've only been back to that levee one time.
That is insane.
Yeah. And that is when I'd only lived in Florida for like 6 months. And I was like, what is this place? What is Florida? Like it's real. Everything they say is real. It's like, oh, cool. A Florida man, he noticed that I wasn't from here, tried to grab me. So awesome.
I love it, man. That is insane, man. I need y'all to understand. Did y'all hear that? He said he was herping and somebody tried to get in his car and pull him out. That's insane. I
It was
love it, man. I love it.
easily the scariest thing that's happened to me out there. Yeah, that was intense.
Crazy, man. So I gotta ask this, man. On my podcast, I've had herpers from all over the world. You know, and you
Mhm.
hunt in Florida. You're doing some phenomenal stuff down there. But I've had herpers from Thailand. You know, David's
Oh
Feed.
yeah.
I don't know if you know
Oh yeah.
David's Feed. I've had
Yeah.
Dan from DM Exotics. He's been on. They're
Mhm.
all over out there in
Oh yeah.
Thailand. So I say that to
Place is
ask you. You know, if you could go python hunting anywhere in the world, where would you want to go and why?
You know, I really think I would have to choose Thailand, or somewhere in the area, Southeast Asia, or just Southern Asia, Philippines, even. A friend of mine who you probably know, Chandler, he went to Thailand and caught king cobras the same way I catch pythons. You know, he took pictures with king cobras the same way I take pictures with pythons, holding a bunch by the tail and stuff like that. So to see, like I've never been to that side of the world. So Africa for African rock pythons, or Asia for reticulated pythons would be they'd probably be tied for first.
I love it, man. I don't. You know, I'll be honest. I said that I would love to go. Shout out to Grim Exotics. He said Australia. Now, I'm
Not
gonna say
wrong.
this to you and Grim. I
Let's hear it.
always said that if I was to go hunting for snakes, I want to go hunting, you know, Thailand, Australia. But then I thought about it. I was like, no, because if you get bit over there, I had that assumption that their hospitals aren't as advanced as ours. You know, they might not have the medicine or the anti-venom that you need. Like, what's your thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah, you know, I've never been, but I think you can't be far off there, especially with Thailand. You know, Australia might be a little better. You know, I'm sure that they've got bite protocol. They've got a lot of dangerous snakes there in some big cities, but you get bit out in the jungle or out in the rice paddies. I mean, who are you gonna call? What are you gonna do? You know, especially by some of those snakes they have mean venom out there, man. There's some serious snakes out there that, not like it's ever good to get bit by a venomous snake. Don't get me wrong, but that is a situation that could be much worse than normal.
Yeah,
For sure.
if I was to go Herbert, it had to be right here in the United States, so I can be like, look, Doc, you've done this before. Fix this.
Hey, that's the nice thing about South Florida, man. People get, not that it's a good thing for that people get bitten, but they're ready for it down here with Venom 1 and Miami-Dade. They're ready
Right,
for it.
right. Have you or Tyler ever done any training with Venom One?
Tyler definitely has. I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but I mean, Tyler's been working with venomous snakes in South Florida for almost 20 years, if not 20 years. And I know he knows those guys well. Obviously, he had that one incident that I'm sure they've had a lot of positive interactions together.
Yeah.
I've never been lucky enough to meet any of them, but I do know who some of those guys are. I think they're pretty cool.
Right. Now I gotta ask this, man. So hot seat question, man. If you were to be able to go python hunting with anybody in the world, celeb wise, who would you pick and why? Any celebrity in the world?
I would want to take Nate Diaz. I would want to take Nate Diaz and maybe Nick Diaz too, both of them. I think they're hilarious. The Diaz brothers are some of my favorite people. Maybe The Rock. It'd be funny to see if The Rock is as big and tough as he. Like, I'm a fan. I don't want you to think I'm not a fan, but I think it'd be funny to see. I like seeing, you know, big dudes like that, you know, face their fears, if it is a fear. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I
I went
love
from
it.
yeah. That's probably my three.
Well, no, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you about to say? I apologize.
No, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, those are probably my top three. I was a wrestling fan growing up, and now I like his movies. So, and then Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz are two of the funniest people probably on the planet. So
It'd be dope.
that's my
It'd be
three.
dope to go herping with The Rock. Have you heard that? You heard that song with The Rock and Tech Nine?
Of course, I have. Yeah, that'd be
That shit's pretty hard.
Remake the music video out there in the glades. I mean, come on, man. He can break Tech Nine. I like Tech Nine. Let's do it, man. Get him out there.
I love it, man. Now, I definitely got to talk about Florida, man. And when I say that, you know, shout out to Tarzan, man. I don't know if you've seen his post on Instagram. I'm gonna show it to you. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. Shout out to Tarzan. So the real Tarzan, he said yesterday. Let me turn this comment off so I can see it. And let me turn this banner off too. It said, shout out to the real Tarzan. He said, yesterday, myself and 60 other animal enthusiasts and professionals spoke with Florida Fish and Wildlife in Tampa about the problems we're facing with new animal bans in the state. Many people and businesses have become criminals overnight with a new law change placing 16 new animals on the prohibited species list. So anyway, shout out to him for talking and standing up for us. So my question to you is like, what's going on down there, man? What do you know anything about the new 16 animals that they just banned?
I don't know exact species off the top of my head. I've had some discussions with Tyler and Chandler and Justin, people like that about it. Being that I right now I only have one reptile at the moment. Surprisingly, I just got my boa. I donated a bunch of my stuff to some of my buddies. But anyways, it's a tough situation because we've got people who aren't necessarily in the field and don't necessarily have experience with certain animals and stuff like that. And it's just paper pushing. And again, I don't want to speak too much on something that I'm not fully educated on, but it is really unfortunate to see them take this route. Because there are families whose entire livelihoods depend on breeding these reptiles, and not just families, single people, couples, whatever. There's people whose entire lives for decades have been breeding iguanas or breeding whatever. And while there is a problem with invasives, that's not again, I'm not the invasive god, but they're not coming from individual pet trade. They're not. And banning them fully, again, this is just my opinion, but I just think there's much more effective ways to go about it personally.
Right. To me, when I seen the real Tarzan make that post, it kind of opened my eyes. Like, this shit is real. They down there in Florida banning everything, and other states will take notice of that. So we have to, stand up and actually fight for our rights, man. So I think I'm going to do a little more research because I am curious to see like 16 new animals. They just said, nope, you can't have them.
And it's they're not too lenient with it. Like I know people. I don't want to name names or organizations or anything, but I know people who have had to euthanize pets. They've had agencies come to their house and it's not like these guys are grim reapers who are coming and saying I'm going to kill your pet if you don't. But it's like it's the law and they have to come enforce it. And it's just really unfortunate to see it play out this way because a lot of people and a lot of animals are going to have to suffer for something that doesn't necessarily have to be done this way.
Right. Now I want to talk, and we're going to talk about snakes, but I want to go to the next thing. I want to talk about you being a PADI dive master. Like, I don't know what that means. What is PADI? What is the meaning? PADI dive master. What does that mean?
So PADI is basically arguably the main the main organization that you can get certified with scuba diving. The base certification is an open water certification, and then you get your advanced open water, and then you can get your rescue. And each one of those you have to have a certain number of dives to get, and you work your way up to a dive master, which is what I currently am, which isn't the highest, not even close to the highest you could be, but it sounds cool. Dive master sounds cool. So what a dive master is basically, I can teach a class and go over skills, but I can't give out the final certification. That is something that I would have to be an instructor to do, which is your IDC, which I started. But I started that when I was 18, and it was tough for me as an 18-year-old to teach adults. I just struggled with it, and it kind of took the fun out of diving for me a little bit. So I stick to our recreational diving, our hunting, wreck diving, doing the fun stuff that you've probably seen us do, or at least know that we do. And again, in the future, you never know. I'm young, I got time, but at the moment, with what I'm doing, I'm loving life, so I don't need to add too much.
I feel you, bro, man. What's the deepest you ever been, man?
The deepest I've ever been is close to 200 feet, about 189 feet, which is a little dumb. I was young when I was being dumb and pushing my gas to the limits that I didn't necessarily need to push it to. But again, man, it's the thrill seeking stuff. That was a long time ago. The deepest I've been recently in Mexico, we got to about 145 feet, which is deep. That's deep, man. The water there's clear, so it doesn't feel as deep, but we're still down there. But yeah, our average dive is about 70 to 100 feet.
145 feet, man. So now you got to give me what's the craziest diving story you got, man? Like, have you ever dove and you turned around and it was a hammerhead shark looking you in the face?
I'm trying to think of the best story I can tell you without getting myself in trouble, because I've definitely had some crazy diving moments. So okay, I one time free diving when I was when I was much younger, in the Virgin Islands. I was free diving. I was on a dive trip, and I got stuck under a moving boat. My wetsuit, I came up in a dinghy from a yacht, ran me over, and so that was pretty intense. Like reaching my hand up, trying to get my hand over the boat so they could see me, and then they finally saw my hand and stopped. But that was intense. Wildlife, craziest thing that's happened to me involving wildlife. One time I shot a fish underwater. I can't remember exactly which species it was. I think it was some sort of jack, an oily fish. And anyway, so yeah, I shoot this fish, and I've got it on a ring about this big, a metal ring, probably 10 inches, and I'm holding the ring right here. And, just swimming, minding my own business, diving with Tyler, trying to keep up with Tyler and Randy because they've got bigger fins than me. So I'm just I got to catch up to Tyler. Right? Let's go. Let's swim fast. And all of a sudden, it just it feels like someone tied my wrist to a string, tied the other end of the string to a car, and just yanked it the other way. And I turn and look, and if this is my hand this far away from the tip of my knuckle, there was a bull shark with the entire fish in its mouth, just shaking. And I let go of the ring, and he just thrashed the ring. And so I was about 6 inches away from being bitten because I was being down. Basically, I was focused on other things when I had a bloody fish in the water, and I got tunnel vision, focused on trying to keep up with Tyler. Forgot to check my surroundings as I'm going, and I got lucky. Truly,
that is crazy, man. Now I thought you were gonna say something like, man, I took somebody diving and they got stung by 6 jellyfish and I had to pee all over them.
Hey, you got to pay me extra for that, man.
I love it, man. Now, so give us a backstory, man, because, like I said, you are a videographer, man. Shout out to my animal house, man. Thank you for coming through. Shout out to GPS Snakes and Curwood, man, for the super chats. I love all y'all, man. I appreciate you guys. Give us a backstory, man. So how did you end up meeting Tyler and becoming his videographer? How did that come about?
It's pretty crazy, man. It's another thing like me with me being a Python contractor. It's just pretty surreal. It's a combination of luck and perseverance, I suppose. I mean, like I said, I moved to Florida in July of 2019. So this is my third year here. And in, I'd say September or November, I emailed Tyler. I was a fan. This is back when Tyler had I subscribed to Tyler when I still lived in Ohio, and he had 5,000 subs. My buddy showed me his account just that he knows I'm a snake guy. And then I'd been watching Tyler and Chandler, and I was like, I'm moving to Florida anyways. And then I moved down there, and I emailed him when the title of the email was snake poop, the subject. And I was like, hey, man, you're basically living my dream. I know I have to get hours if I want to own venomous in Florida. I would be really honored if you'd let me come over there and clean your snake cages and learn from you. I'll work for free. I'll do whatever. I don't care. Like I said, I'll clean up snake poop. I told him I'm not here to be on YouTube. I'm not here to be famous. This is what I love, truly. And I was lucky enough that he saw the email and he believed me, because I wasn't lying. And I started out over there. If you can go back and look, about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, I started out. I was in the videos just looking like a timid little field mouse, trying to just stand in the corner. I would try to stay out of the way. I still a little weird on camera, but and I kind of we ended up really clicking and getting along. And he had someone else editing, or he was editing and someone else was filming when we first started. But it ended up, he was just like, dude, I'd love it if I could just teach you to do this stuff. You're already here anyways, doing the cages every day. It'd be easier if you and then he taught me how to film. He taught me how to edit. I didn't know how to do any of this stuff before I met Tyler. I thought I knew how to handle venomous snakes. I thought I was hot shit before I met Tyler, but then you come down here and you're like, oh wow, this is a lot harder than holding a copperhead. This is that is way harder, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was humbling. It really was. Like, and it took me a while to, you know, get some of that confidence back and realize that like I am really here doing this, you know. And it still hasn't really hit me. Like when you posted the picture of me with the King Cobra, I'm like, who photoshopped that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Like, it doesn't look. It's me. That's so weird. Like, it's surreal because you know I really was just 2 years ago a fan, and he was nice enough to welcome me into his home and into his life, and now Tyler's truly one of my best friends. Like, I see him every day, you know. And it's not just he's not my boss. Like, that's one of my best friends. He really is.
Yeah, man. I love it, man. I love it. Now, I don't know if you're allowed to say this, but I'm gonna ask anyway. You know, this is something that we all want to know, man. We fans, we follow Tyler, we follow you. So we want to know, how close are you? How many hours do you need to be officially done? We love Tyler, but we want you not to need him no more. We want to see Pepe. We want to see Duff does nature stuff on his own at his crib with 70 cobras. Like, how long do you have before you're done?
Well, I would have to look at I've got a spreadsheet on my other computer that's got close to my exact hours, but I'm not exact. But I need 1,000 hours per species, and I would say by the end of this year I should have my permits by the end of 2022, and maybe beginning of next year, because you know we could push it, but not that it's not that I don't still want to have my own, because I truly do, but I do get my fill. And I'd rather be sure and know that I'm, because there was a good stretch there after I started working for him where with COVID and all that, where even though I was technically working for him, we didn't get too much handling in, where so people are like, well, you've been working for him for 3 years. The handling, you know, it's been a lot more lately. So we've been getting a lot more hours in lately. But yeah, by the end of, we were just actually talking about that, Tyler and I, the other day. With somebody else. So by the end of this year, early next year, I should be ready to go, and hopefully he has his property by then, and then I'm just upgraded zookeeper. You know, go from the snake room to the snake house. Man, that's the goal.
You know? Hell yeah.
I got there unsupervised safely.
I'm gonna push you further than that. I know you want to go with Tyler, but I want you to have your own facility. We want to see you, you know what I'm saying, out there just crushing it.
Yeah, man, that's something that I do have a lot of people, for me, tell me, you know, that I need to go start my own stuff, start my own YouTube, and eventually for sure, I'll just can't even say maybe, it'll definitely happen. But all the cool stuff that I do right now that's YouTube worthy is with Tyler or Chandler. So once again, like you said, once I've got my own animals, I've got my own property, I've got my own stuff going on, I could definitely see it once I'm a little more comfortable on camera. Because like you said, or like I said, man, I'm still getting used to the YouTube world, man. Like I'm still getting used to the fact that I really am a part of it. And now that I'm starting to get that confidence and get used to being on camera and stuff like that, it is becoming more realistic that I could, again, and I don't want to ever, you know, dick Tyler over, because I'm not here without him. So that's like, I'm never gonna just leave him high and dry. But of course. It's definitely, you know, in maybe not the near future, but it's definitely going to happen. At least seeing me, you know, take social media a little more seriously, because I am a little lazy on it right now. But
well, we got to get into the meat of the podcast, man. So I'm going to show a picture, and I want you to tell me what was going through your mind this day right here.
Oh, I love that picture. That was a great day for me. That was the most extreme handling at that point that I had done in the snake room. In terms of, I mean, you can look at the picture and kind of see what's going on. That snake has its venom. That snake has its fangs. That's a fully functioning batwing rattlesnake. And for those of you who know, Batman is a very docile snake, considering, but that's an animal right there that could really do some damage to you. And to not have worked way up from where I did, but to have trust me to allow me to handle the snake, because I'm in someone else's house basically holding a loaded gun to my head, if you think about it that way. And So going through my head moment was control your breathing. Don't take your eyes off the snake. Don't cool. Just move slowly. In moments like that where you're in the snake room, so you don't have that adrenaline, at least for myself, where you don't have the adrenaline wild encounter, sometimes it's harder to get that focus and to get that calm. But as I get more experienced and as I get more coaching from some of the crazy good handlers that I'm lucky enough to know, I'm able to take pictures like that and handle crazy animals like that. So it is pretty cool.
I love it, but here's the thing. You haven't stopped, you haven't stopped with the rattlesnake. Let me show now. I got to show this because this is legendary right here. Let me see. Legendary, man. How fun was this? Holding a king cobra, man. How amazing is that?
I mean, that's truly something that I have been dreaming about since I was 10 years old, man. Since I saw not my great grandpa, my dad's dad, my grandpa, he had cobras and he had rattlesnakes, and I always knew it was something I was interested in, whether it's watching Crocodile Hunter or Jeff Corwin or anyone on Animal Planet or YouTube or anything. And to watch that snake Rusty grow from the little feisty worm that he was a little under 2 years ago into this 10-foot gentle giant. Again, I know he's a king cobra. He is. But Rusty is a one of a kind gem. He is such a nice guy. Like, I know I'm talking about a king cobra here, but it is. Well, it really was one of the best days of my life, and I'm not exaggerating at all.
I believe it, man. And I'm gonna tell you this with you on the podcast, man. To me, you have came such a long way. Because, like I said, I follow you. I follow Tyler. I remember the first time seeing you hold. I don't know his false water cobra's name, but it was the funniest shit ever. Okay. It was so.
That's what his name is.
Funniest shit ever. And to see you then and see where you come now, man, you've come a long way.
Derek, it's crazy, man. Like, it really is crazy. And I just went back and watched that video. Actually, that same day I held the king cobra when I was on my way home from Tyler's house. I watched that false water video just to kind of remind myself and to not to humble myself, but just to be like, dude, there were times, man, trust me, there are times when you get your ass beat by a dumb little colubrid that's rear-fanged and it embarrasses you in front of 400,000 people that you think to yourself, maybe I'm not supposed to be holding these snakes. But like, dude, to have the people who have been not only the fans, but just like everyone who reaches out to me with positivity, like, yeah, like, exactly the spectacle and the monocle that he has are crazy, and working with snakes like that and the false water allowed me to work my way up to a literal 10-foot king cobra. It is insane.
I love it, man. I love it, man. To see where you are now, man, it's just incredible, man. Now, I got to ask this, man, and I know that I probably asked it before, but I don't care. I want you to refresh my memory, man. So, just like, there's tons of species out there. You have ball pythons, you have colubrids, you have the venomous. So my question to you is, why venomous? What gets you going about the venomous part of the hobby?
It feels like a cheap answer, but it really is. It's the rush of, not that something could go wrong, because like that's not ever how you want to think, but it's kind of testing yourself. It's not like I clearly did not start out holding king cobras. I started out catching water snakes, and then as I learned how to get the water snakes to stop biting me, I started catching big rat snakes when I'm 10 years old, and then at 12 years old I caught my first copperhead. And at 14, I caught my first rattlesnake, and here I am at 22, and it's really gradual. And before I know it, I'm just handling the venomous snakes, and people are like, "Why do you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, I see people jump off cliffs, do flips and stuff. I don't understand that at all, but it's just what I love." And even though there is this slight risk, it's worth it, because I trust myself. I trust the people that I'm with to keep me safe, whether I'm filming or whatever I'm doing. It runs in my family. It's something that's always been in my life. My grandpa he got bit. Not that I want to follow his patterns, but he was bitten 9 times by venomous snakes and he never stopped. So I'm hoping to get 0. I'm hoping to go 0 for 0 with bites, but it's just you stop that. It's just the life it's the life that I was born to live, and I'm going to continue to live it until it's my time to do something else.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Oh, thank you, Fungus Queen. Thank you so much. I gotta ask this, man. You know, once you're done with your training, once you don't have to, do any more hours, with you being a part of the venomous hobby, do you ever see yourself going through the process of getting anti-venom and having it at your home so you don't have to go to the, I'm not saying don't go to the hospital, but you understand what I'm saying, where you don't have to get it from the zoo or where you don't have to get it from the hospital? Have you ever thought about, going through the process of getting it to where you can have your own collection of anti-venom?
It would be nice. It definitely would. Again, that's a process I'd have to go through once I get my permit, but it would definitely make my parents a lot more comfortable. Especially, my mom and my dad. They saw me post that picture, and my dad calls me. He's like, "Well, what are you doing, dude? Like, do not do that." Like that thing. He's like, "That thing's defanged, right?" I'm like, "No, Dad, no, no, Dad." Like, come on. So it's definitely not a bad idea. And it's also expensive when you go to the hospital. So I don't know how expensive it is when you take it at home, but it is. I can't imagine that it is more expensive.
Right. Before we talk about the next part, I want to talk about rear fang venomous snakes. I want to tell you that, even with that false water cobra, I think that even when you were in the beginning stages of learning, you did your thing, man, because I've seen pictures. People think that false water, rear fang venomous snakes, can't hurt you, but I've seen pictures where people's hand have just swelled up. Like a rear fang venomous snake can still do some damage. It might not kill you, but it can still do some damage.
Well, it's everyone has a different reaction to the venom. Early in my not too early, I think it was actually right before you had me on the first time. We did let the false water bite me just to make sure, because I had so many close calls that we were like, maybe just to make sure that if it did get me, because that's the snake we're going to want to bite me if something does bite me. So we did end up letting it bite me right here on my forearm. And I had very small reaction, little bumps around the teeth. But yeah, like you said, significant swelling from a hog nose. I've seen false water bites that they're not horrible, but I wouldn't want that reaction.
Right.
It's just like a bee sting. You can have a bad reaction to a bee sting.
Right. Now I gotta ask this, man. And I want to get your idea on it. And there is no right or wrong answer. Have you ever heard of Tim Freed? And you're part of the venomous community. Have you ever heard of Tim Freed?
Sounds very familiar.
Right,
hit me, because I feel like I have.
Okay,
I can't put my finger on it, but I really feel like I have.
Okay, I want to see if I tell you this information, I want to see if I blow your mind, and I want to, so I've had him on the podcast.
Okay.
So first, I'm gonna read this article. Give me 1 second. Now, this is the Human Anti-Venom Project. Since 2000, Tim Freed, a truck mechanic from Wisconsin, has endured some 200 snake bites and 700 injections of lethal snake venom, all part of a quest to immunize his body and offer his blood to scientists seeking a universal anti-venom. For nearly 2 decades, few took him seriously. Then a gifted young immunologist stumbled across Freed on YouTube and became convinced that he was the key to conquering snake bites forever. What's your take on that?
I have heard of him. Once you read that to me, I have heard of him. And I think the guy's, like, for lack of a better word, a borderline genius. The fact that he can – look at that. Like, that is – if you showed anyone that picture, you're like, what do you think this guy's doing right now? I bet you it wouldn't be, oh, he just took an Advil and he's fine. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then I don't know the science behind it, but this guy figured out how to microdose snake venom, neurotoxins, hemotoxins, tissue destroying, body killing, poison venom, and he can now take it on the chin like it is like it's a black bean or something. I don't know, dude. Like it's crazy. He can just eat it. It's awesome. I'm jealous. I'm super jealous.
Now he's been bit by almost. Oh my God! Thank you so much, Fungus Queen. I really appreciate all you guys'
Hell yeah.
support. Um, Now I want you to understand, because see, I don't understand the science behind it, but what
Nor do
he
I at
is
all.
working towards, now he explained this to me on the podcast. What he's working towards, and he said they're pretty close. He's working towards a venom vaccination, meaning to where a couple times a year you'll be able to get a shot, and if a venomous snake bites you, it'll just be like a bee sting.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like that he's on some other shit, man. Like he could probably explain it to me 40 times. I still wouldn't know what he's talking about. Like, and that's awesome. Like that is, if that is real, which I doubt he's a liar. I'm not trying to, like, that is, if they're really that close to that coming out, like that is insane for my brain to even process the fact that you could really, the fact that they could make this hobby that much safer is pretty insane. Just it's mind blowing almost,
You should look him up. He's like a director at a company called Sentivax or something like that, and they're working towards it. And see,
I'll definitely be doing more research. Yeah.
He's been bit by almost everything: taipans, cobras, rattlesnakes. If it's venomous, he's been bit by it and has lived.
He's a bad man with jam, man. I wouldn't want to mess with his bloodstream. I'm telling you that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I love it, man. I love it, man. Now I gotta ask this, man. So kind of give me a backstory, man. I want you to kind of tell the people that are listening. Thank you everybody for listening. What's up, Herb Collectors, man? Shout out to Herb Collectors.
What it do?
Give us some kind of a backstory, man. So we're not in Florida. You're down there with icons. You're down there with Chandler, Nolan, and Crutchfield. Now I've had Crutchfield on the podcast, but my question to you is: have you ever, being around Tyler, have you ever had the chance to meet Crutchfield? And what was your impression of him? How did it go? Take us back to that day of meeting Crutchfield.
I actually just met Tom Crutchfield for the first time recently. He is one of the most knowledgeable people I've met, especially in terms of in the herpetology field. He was actually, that's part of the reason that I actually have this job with Tyler still, is because my grandfather used to come to Florida and go herping with Tom Crutchfield back in the day, man. Like back when Tom was my age. So bringing my grandpa's name up to Tom and to Tyler, once Tyler knew that Tom knew my family, whatever, it did help me. And finally getting to meet Tom and hear some stories about my grandpa and just listen to the wealth of knowledge that he has in his brain about, the dude, he's done everything in this field. He's got puppy dog tame Manchangs. He's got, he's got some of the tamest, most intelligent lizards you can interact with, and the knowledge he has, especially about building a relationship between the keeper and the kept. That's the thing he's really big on. Again, I've only met him once, but just hearing him talk and the passion and the knowledge that he speaks with is really cool. I was, again, very lucky to meet him. Like you said, I'm down here with icons, and it's crazy, dude. It's crazy because 2 years ago I was in Michigan on vacation showing my mom Tyler and Chandler's channel. Like, one day I'm going to work for these guys. And she was like, okay, get a job. And here I am. So yeah, it's just crazy, man.
I love it, man. I love it, man. Now, so what are you gonna do to celebrate, man? And when I say that, what are you doing for Tyler Nolan, to celebrate when he hits that 500K? And then also, what are you gonna do to celebrate when you hit that 10K on IG, man? Because you're gonna get there soon, man.
So
what do you got planned,
man? The 10K on IG, I can't reveal what we're doing yet. We're gonna tell you in a video shortly, because I do have a plan, and it's gonna be pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited. A little nervous, but I'm pretty excited about what we're doing when I get to 10K. Tyler and I are both going to do something. At 500K, man, that is we're getting close. That is a huge one. We're hoping to get to 1 million by the end of 2022, but 500K is the first milestone we got to get to, and we're going to celebrate. We'll make a video. We'll take some snakes out. We'll do what we do, but can't get satisfied with 500K, man. We gotta catch up to Chandler and Kenan and all those guys. We gotta get moving.
500K, man. You gotta give you something, though, man. You gotta give him like a big ass.
Yeah,
cover his house and.
Yeah,
I got no.
Hit me. Let's hear it.
Let me know. I got an idea. This what you should do. You should do some Mr. Beast type shit. So like when he hits 500K, This is what you should do. You should prank him. You should get 500,000 sticky notes, plaster his house with them.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I definitely. Oh, or maybe his tattoo shop, his house or his shop. I'm not sure. I guess I could do his tattoo shop because then we could have someone distract him at home while we. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Just plaster. Like you hit 500K, so we got 500,000 sticky notes and just put them all through the tattoo shop.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, funny to see, man.
That'd be a punishment for someone else because they'd have to clean it up. But I'm down. That would be.
I love it, man.
That'd be awesome.
I love it, man. Now with with I won't say COVID is gone because it's not, but it's a lot less restrictive as it was a year ago or 2 years ago when COVID first hit. So I say that to say, do you see yourself and Tyler ever getting out of the house, going and doing any herping now that COVID is kind of loosened up, or doing any, not even just herping, just facility visits, going to see Brian at the Reptarium, going to CJ Brewer, going to Nerd, just going to anywhere and doing some out of that room, tours, or what's some of the things that y'all got planned for down the road? If you don't mind me asking.
Of course.
If you can't reveal, you can be like, boy, I can't tell you that. Tyler killed me.
I mean, you got the insider access, man. Yeah, we've definitely got some big plans for 2022. Tyler's gonna slow down his tattoo schedule a little bit so he can focus more on the YouTube and doing what he loves. Not that he doesn't love tattooing, but it's different. It's work. He's been on the phone with Brian. We want to go up to there, see their facility. There's some really cool facilities down here in Florida that we haven't checked out yet on the channel. There's a lot of really, really cool YouTubers out there right now that Tyler and myself are we're working on a lot of collabs for the year 2022 to expand each other's channels to their channel and Tyler's channel. Yeah, exciting stuff coming this year for sure. Collabs, hopefully some traveling. Hopefully get maybe to Costa Rica, do some herping down there in the rainforest. I don't want to jinx us, our last Costa Rica trip got canceled because of Roro, but like I said, man, if all goes well, this should be a really, really, really cool year for content. Not that last year wasn't, but you know what I'm saying.
That would be sick, man.
Yeah, that would be
herping in Costa Rica,
bro. Eyelash wipers, wild eyelash wipers, bro.
You're living the dream, man. Now, something that before we get off, man, because like I said, you almost gave us an amazing hour. Something I do want to talk about and kind of get your take on it is, for me, I ain't gonna lie, I had a copperhead, and snake maintenance for me, y'all made it look effortless. But when I'm doing snake maintenance on a venomous snake, I'm nervous. Like, so how important is maintenance, and what goes to your head when you're doing it? Like, y'all make it look effortless. Like, let's say you get the mites or something, taking care of venomous snakes with
I'm listening.
The thought that I'm trying to form is, how important is snake maintenance when it comes to venomous snakes, and how hard is it? What goes to your head when you're cleaning cages, when you're killing mites? How important is it, keeping your venomous snakes up?
It is. It's important, just like keeping any other reptile. The main difference is, if the snake's got mites, or let's say like the blue and solaris, they have nematodes right now. You can't necessarily just hold that snake and inspect it, because it's capable of dealing you a venomous bite at any second that could alter your life. So a big difference in the husbandry is if the snake does end up getting some sort of parasite, it's a little more difficult to deal with hands-on, because hold on.
You're fine.
Sorry, someone calling me. Because you're dealing with a snake that could alter your life, or a lizard that could alter your life. And another thing is that they'll pass their fangs through their digestive system when they eat. So you can't just reach in there. I mean, you can, and we do. It happens, but you really need to pay attention, even just grabbing poop, because you can stab yourself with a fang that's got a little bit of venom left in there. You just the other day feeding the gaboon, it lost a fang, and you can venomate yourself. So you do have to be a little more careful. Again,
have you ever accidentally got stuck?
I've never been stuck, but I have reached in and grabbed piles of poop, and as I'm throwing them away, I see that there's a fang, and then I got lucky in my carelessness. So I've had close calls. Not that I necessarily would have been envenomated, but still, it's not a risk you want to take.
Right. I love it, man. Well, I want to say I appreciate you coming on for a round 2. Thank you so much. I want to say, before you're done with your training, I feel like when you get done with your training, I feel like Tyler should give you a free tattoo. It should be like right on your chest, like you did it, bro.
Done did it. That's what I get across my chest. Done did it.
you did that shit, bro. I feel like you need that. That should be like your celebration.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Rip the shirt off at
like
the end of the video, and I get my hours, and there's already like Cobra tattooed there. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, man. I got to start doing some push-ups first, though, before I get my chest tattooed.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for giving me a round 2, man. You're killing it, man. I want to show these pictures before we leave one more time. You're doing some just incredible stuff, man. Stuff that I wish I was doing, but my wife's not gonna let me do it. Just amazing stuff, man.
Thank you, sir. And back at you, man. I'm watching your channel. You grow right along with me, man. Like I said, you're the first one to have me on. So whenever you call, I'm answering, man. I'm here. Like
you're my guy, bro.
That's for life, bro. So hopefully we can continue growing together, and a couple years down the line, we'll be looking back on this second podcast, thinking about the good old days.
All right, man. I'm gonna let you go, man. I appreciate you, big bro.
Hell yeah, man. Back at you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Whenever, bro.
Man, this is Big Reptile Talk, man. We just had Big Pepe on, man. He's crushing it, man. He's over there with Tyler, man, just working with just a amazing collection. Shout out to Kara Shea, man. She said great show. Thank you so much, man. Shout out to Fungus Queens, man. Just everybody that's in the chat. I appreciate all you. He's over there, like I said, he's working with just an amazing collection. So y'all make sure y'all go to Instagram and follow Duff Does Nature Stuff. He's killing it. He's Tyler Nolan's right-hand man. He's his videographer. I meant to ask him that. Shit. I meant to be like, so why do you think Tyler Nolan has 500,000? And of course, he would have been like, well, it's because Tyler Nolan is good. And I would have said, nah, you're supposed to say because it's videographer is the shit. But again, man, make sure you head over to Instagram, give Duff Does Nature Stuff a follow. Thank you to all the people that showed up. I love all of you. Fungus Queen, Hurt Collectors, Kara Shea, My Animal House, Kurt Wood, everybody, Morbid. Thank you so much for the super chats. Morbid, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. I appreciate you. Shout out to Amazing Feeders. Just everybody, man. Shout out to Grim Exotics. Make sure you go give all of them a follow. We out of here, man. This is Big Reptile Talk. Until next time, man. Make sure you also go show the channel sponsor some love. Aussie Boys, Venom Proof Cages, and Balls to You. We out of here, man. Peace out.
You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big Reptile Talk.